one thing is I just started devoting so much more time to it. As in, to me, again. So my first year of uni is still in lockdown. I'm still not going into lectures. Like I was just in a different place. So I had all this time to myself, and I was like, cool, I'm getting into clothes now. And everything I do, like I wouldn't say I want to do it right. That's not the right thing, but like I'm going to put effort into it to be the very best I can be at it. So the minute I was like, calm, I like clothes, it was like, look at the very best people doing it. So I put so much, I used to watch so many fashion shows.
Ooh, what sort of things are you watching?
Like a lot of Raf Simmons, a lot of, who was popping at the time? You know, a Cold War.
Yep.
He was
Samuel
doing
Ross.
shows, Samuel Ross, so sick. I was watching a lot of Archive Prada. I love old Prada. And then Elites.
Oh, Matthew Williams.
Yeah. Those were the shows I used to watch a lot. And I remember like just spending Vogue Runway app, spending so much time. But for me, it wasn't like, it sounds peak, but it's not peak. It wasn't an enjoyable thing to me. I was like, I'm locking in.
Studying it.
I'm studying. Yeah, like this is study. Like, and it's funny because all those things were so out of my reach at the time. Like, I couldn't imagine making a leather jacket. It didn't seem possible to me. But still, I would look at a runway and I'd take notes of the leather jacket, take notes of how the big denim pants fall on the floor. But I could never imagine myself making my own denim at the time. But yeah, I reckon that's when I started thinking more like, okay, like this is what I like doing, and I'm not doing it enjoyably anymore. Even though I'm having loads of fun with it, like so much fun. At the time, there was nothing more fun to me than sitting in the crib and watching fashion shows. But like it was lock in, study, take this in. Like I remember saying to my friend, like, do you watch shows so intensely? Like after you're finished, are you tired? And he was like, nah, like just.
He was even thinking that's weird.
He was like, just like don't deep it so much. Like just let them look at the clothes. But I remember I used to stop, pause it, look at the jacket, look at the pants. How does the jacket sit with the pants? How does it fall on the shoe? What's the accessory? Like it was always, the minute I tapped in, it was like deep. It was really deep in from the offset.
How did you know to study things so intently? Like, did you realize that in order for you to be good in your fashion career, if you want to call it that, you had to emulate greats like the people you mentioned? Do you know what I mean? Is that something you was just aware of?
Nah, I think naturally that's always what I've done.
Okay.
So before,
So for example, like when you're playing football, naturally you'll be watching videos on YouTube like we all did.
I wouldn't say that. I was young when I was kicking ball. I reckon it really started when I started playing basketball. Okay. So I played basketball, I want to say like year 8. And basketball's mad different from football because you can train by yourself like, a lot. As in you can just get in and train. So my basketball thing was, I think that's a direct transfer from hooping. It's literally you study game. It's literally study. So you pick a player, you watch how they move, then you go, you train, you move like them, and then you try and put that into the game. So that was the way I analyzed fashion, probably straight from hooping. It's like dissecting the game. That's the deepest way to say it. And dissecting it by a crossover is the equivalent to a trouser. And then the crossover to the short is how the trouser sits with the jacket. Do you get what I mean? So yeah.
Hey, that is a wavy analogy.
Yeah, that's probably how it was, yeah.
So when you were watching all these, in fact, different question.
Yeah.
When you were studying fashion, how did you know who to choose? Were you aware of these people before, or you just came across them on YouTube and that?
That's a sick question. I don't even know, you know. Actually don't know.
Because the names you mentioned, like, because when we think of fashion, we think about the people that everybody knows. So you mentioned Prada, but like you think about Louis Vuitton or whatever. Maybe you think about people like Marc Jacobs that are more famous. But from saying people like Samuel Ross and Matthew Williams, I feel like not everybody would have known about them. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like it must be Instagram.
Okay.
And I want to say Samuel Ross, I don't know how. Because I really trying to took my brain and know why Samuel Ross. But I think Samuel Ross is so sick because he's so intelligent. Like he's like, it's so much deeper than fashion. The Cold War is so much deeper than fashion. What he does in terms of like his architecture, all the avenues he does, like the way he was tied into so many people. Bro, how did I forget? I was watching so much Off-White, like Virgil.
Virgil.
Like,
I knew he was about to say that.
like so much Off-White.
God rest his soul, man.
So I think I actually knew about Samuel Ross
because of Virgil.
Through Virgil. And then I probably knew about Matthew Williams through Virgil as well. So I think Virgil was actually the glue to
The catalyst
everything.
for
Yeah,
everything.
in terms of not being in like mainstream, just straight Louis Vuitton. Funny enough, before he went on to Louis, but like going on to designers which are a bit not niche, but yeah, you get what I mean. Matthew Williams is not the straight.
Not everyone
person.
knows about these. Yeah.
Well,
so what were the like things that tied in these designers together? Like when you were watching all these different shows and whatnot, what were the key things you learned from studying?
I just learned about clothes at that point, as in actual. I don't want to say like one materials, one just the vast amount of materials there are. Because when to us, like, I didn't even think about materials. A jean is a jean, a jacket is a jacket.
A t-shirt is a t-shirt.
Yeah, exactly. And then you start to see these things that not only look different, but one thing, especially from runways, is how clothes move. Lighter things flow differently. Like heavier things sit. Like, yeah. So that's a lot of it. Just a lot of learning about movement in garments and then materials in garments. Then one thing is, and it's funny enough, I still haven't implemented this now, but I was probably analyzing it 3 years ago, was like color theories. Where people are like, I don't know if color theory is the technical fashion term. I always say this when I talk about fashion because I didn't go to a fashion school. So I don't know a thing. Like, I'm just freestyling it. So like, I don't know if I use terminologies right. But like the way people put colors together, and it's funny how sometimes they make so much sense, neutral tones together. Sometimes it's crazy, like red and white, and it still makes sense.
But it shouldn't.
It shouldn't. And funny enough, like, well, that was like 3 years ago. I was analyzing that, and I still haven't really. I'm still learning that and thinking how I'm gonna put that into my brand. But I learned that a lot from shows. So yeah, I'd say those are the biggest things.
Thanks for watching another episode of Where's My Podcast. If you ever want to take in future episodes on the go, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Whilst you're there, please leave us a 5-star review. It would really help. And also, don't forget to follow us on our Instagram, WMTV_LDN, to keep up to date with the latest goings on in UK fashion. Keep it locked.